culture is more than just entertainment. It's a lens into society, relationships, and human behavior. I'm Grace, and here on The Grace Report, we dive into stories beyond the headlines. Whether it's reality TV drama, celebrity scandals, or royal family intrigue, I'm here to break it all down. What it means, why it matters, and how it reflects the world we live in. Join the conversation, share your take, and let's make sense of the culture shaping our lives one story at a time. Good morning, sunshines. Hopefully you guys are having an amazing Wednesday so far. Listen, y'all. I'm running late. You know why? Because I finally found a bagel at the grocery store. So what did I make? My bagel, cream cheese, and bacon. Scrumptious. And on top of that, Jaleesa, I saw your comment about the Valley review and I was like, holy crap, I completely forgot about that. So I was watching it and I've made it to the last 5 minutes and I need you to help with the last 5 minutes when we get into that recap, okay? Crazy episode. If you guys are not watching the Valley on Bravo, you're missing out. The Valley and that other dating show, Love Hotel. Those are the best shows to me right now on the Bravo network. So good morning to you, Jaleesa, Ronnie, Caroline, Shemjem, Tadisha, Jessica, Venetia, Gala, I almost said Moniz, Monica, Nikki, Angie, Jen, Petty LaBelle. Nice to have you back, boo. Allie's here as well. Good morning. East Awesome. Allie, I love your new photo. Your hair looks amazing. So luscious. Good morning, Sal. Good morning, Malika, Rebecca, Little Miss Fluffy, Brianna, and everybody else tuning in as well. It is so nice to have y'all here. And look, you see it again right here. The sun is still shining, 25 degrees. Every time I'm walking out the door for the past couple of days that it's been like that, I'm like this. You know that picture of Nicole Kidman walking out of her divorce lawyer? That's me. I was suffering through the grayness, the gloomy weather. And now that the sun is back, I just want to like sit there, spend all my days outside. Did I tell you guys about the dog that I watched? She's all the way over there right now. Her mom accidentally slammed the car door on her tail. And so she's missing like maybe 2.5 to 3 inches of her tail. Very sad. She actually just got operated on yesterday. It was an accident. It was a freak accident and it's really, really sad. So I have her with me today, but I wanted to go out for a nice walk and stuff, but she just got operated on yesterday, right? So she's exhausted. Like we went out for her to do her little pee and then she wanted to come back. And so there was that. It was so sad. And she's walking around with this little bandage and whatnot. So sad. By the way, you guys, I do have an update about remember how I told you guys my gym, like they let you like work with a trainer once a month. And then the last month when I went for my first ever appointment with my trainer, I thought I packed tights, but I didn't. And so I was doing it in a skirt and leggings. Well, this time to make sure that didn't happen, you know what I did? I wore leggings, my gym leggings under my jeans and walked to the gym wearing them. That way I knew for sure that I had them. So I had my second session with him and it went really well. He was really happy with me for taking his program seriously. And then, I'm really happy because now I get to finally like lift weights in the gym. Speaking of, I need to buy like weightlifting gloves because it's making my hands like not a fan. So FYI on that. Good morning, Theo, and thank you for co-signing how good Love Hotel is. Tokyo, that is amazing, Emmy. Wow, hello, Tokyo. Nice to see you. AK Car, Kahara, Kristen. And yeah, you guys, it's so sad. The doggy is the sweetest thing, and her mom loves her so much. She definitely would never do that on purpose. It was just such a sad. She said there was blood everywhere. Like it was bad. They had to do an emergency operation, and it's really, really sad. So, she's just here with me. She just made her way back here, hiding under the chair. She's not her usual self. Usually she's got so much energy, this and that, but she's really, really, tired and, going through a lot. So thank you guys. Send any sweet thoughts you can her way. She really, really needs them. She is like the sweetest angel. And so this is a really sad thing. Ooh, thank you, Allie. Yeah, I've been looking into where to buy gloves. I might go to a store. We have a fitness store here called Decathlon, kind of like a Sport Check for Canadians. I don't know if that exists in the US, but yeah, I really need them because I'm getting like these little calluses here. And you guys, I dance, right? So like, I don't want to like be putting my hands in my partner's hand and them feeling like, oh girl, like, what is this, honey? No. He's Awesome says, What happened here? Oh, you're talking about the Valley. The Valley episode was so damn good, you guys. We have so much to discuss when it comes to that. And thank you so much, Succeeding. Good morning to you too. Y'all, let me give you a quick rundown on what we're going to talk about today, okay? So we got to talk about how Jaguar Wright is being sued by Brian McKnight for defamation. Is anybody surprised? Rumor has it that Benny Blanco might be cheating on Selena Gomez, which I hope is untrue. I really do. There was also a fight that broke out after Beyonce's concert, the first night of Cowboy Carter. Brittany Cartwright, Jax's estranged wife, is dragging him for his bedroom skills as well. And Dorit and PK, we've got the first photo of them since Dorit filed for divorce and PK was out with his new girlfriend. Giselle Bryant gave us a little bit of an update on how Karen Huger is faring in prison, or should I say jail, sorry. And then Jax is having really, really bad luck because he was supposed to be going off on tour for his podcast. It looks like a lot of that podcast tour got canceled because people are just not here for him and his DV, right? And then, of course, we also will be recapping last night's episode of The Valley as well. So stay tuned. If you find yourself enjoying today's episode of The Morning Report at any moment, please do not hesitate to go ahead and give this video a thumbs up so that YouTube knows that you enjoy my content. And yes, you're here, Trintron, ready for the first story just in the nick of time. Let's go, y'all. Why don't we start off with the Brian McKnight story? Listen, the way that I used to love Brian McKnight, like his song Back at One was my jam. I always said that is the most beautiful song, like the perfect first dance song. But after hearing about the way that he treats his children, right? All of these children, by the way this man is so, seemingly narcissistic that he would name all of his children different variations of his own name. Okay, like let's not even get into that, right? But the way that he ignored the first set of children that he had when he got remarried and whatnot turned me off to him. I will never pay money to see him in concert. I do not give him the streams. Like I just, right? And so someone named Jaguar Wright, who has been very famous for making a lot of very, inflammatory comments and claims in regards to a lot of big celebrities, including Diddy, Jay-Z, Beyonce, Brian McKnight, etc., right? And so a lot of times people have been neglecting to sue her because she doesn't have any money to sue her for, right? But Brian McKnight said, listen, I don't care if you don't have money for me to be suing you for. I'm going to sue you just based off the principle, right? Just to let you know that what you're saying is 100% false. So for those who do not know, Jaguar was making all sorts of claims about the way that Brian McKnight treated his ex-wife, right? So she claims that he abused his ex-wife and some prostitutes, okay? And so that is why he is suing for defamation. And she has been at this for quite a while. So some of her claims that she made on social media were that he would hire the prostitutes and physically abuse them during actual encounters. And he says that none of that ever happened. She is making this stuff up. And then she also claimed that he was a terrible husband, a violent husband to his ex-wife, Julie McKnight. And she claims that she is cousins with Julie McKnight. Listen, here's the thing. A lot of people give Jaguar Wright their platforms to use to go and say n'importe quoi, tout et n'importe quoi, just any and everything. They know that the lady is a little bit off, right? This stuff is just coming from her imagination. But because it gets clicks and because a lot of people, they want to believe the worst of celebrities for whatever reason, right? Like even if it's something that is so obviously fake, right? We know that Brian McKnight is not a great person, right? Just based off the way that he treats his children. But like this lady claiming that she's cousins with his ex-wife and just making up all these stories that she's got this connection to Diddy. Listen, we know Diddy is terrible, but how do we know that she, right? Like her real connections. We know that Jay-Z has some skeletons in his closet as well, right? But that doesn't mean that we can be so desperate for tea that we go and believe some random, crazy internet lady. Right. So listen, I think that he is going to win this and there's going to be a default judgment. I don't believe that she's even going to fight this. Right. Because I think she knows that she's making this stuff up. Right. And so when you win this kind of a lawsuit against somebody, that debt is just going to hang over her head. I don't know that he'll pursue her, right? The way that Cardi B has been pursuing Tasha K or other people have pursued other bloggers and whatnot. But I think it is just for the principle of things to say, hey, listen, you got to shut up about me. put your money where your mouth is. If what you're saying about me is true, let's duke it out in court, right? So just to be clear, y'all, I believe him. And I see a comment here from Tia, right? Tia says, I'm surprised. By the way, I love that green on you. That looks absolutely gorgeous. I'm surprised that Jay-Z didn't sue her. Same here. In fact, even if she doesn't have money, I think that the other people who have been implicated in her lies and in her fairy tales should sue her as well for the principle. They've got more than enough money to spend on these lawyers to sue and just leave the judgment there. Who cares, right? Didn't Taylor Swift sue somebody for $1 once? Just for the principle of things, to clear your name or to say, listen, I am not lying here. I want you guys to know that this is not about the money. This is about me clearing my name, right? Nikki says, I was about to say, does she have anything after Cardi sued her? Right? Listen, right now, Cardi, she has been fighting so hard to get her money off of Tasha K. Now they're on some kind of a payment plan and whatnot just to get that money back. Like, you know, and I don't know if Brian McKnight's going to go that direction, but I do think that like he's going to pursue this to the end. And I do think that Jaguar is going to allow it to be a default judgment. She's not going to waste money on lawyers, this and that, like if she knows that she's lying, right? And wasn't there somebody in Milagro or something like that? Megan Thee Stallion is currently tied into a lawsuit with Milagro. She's also still suing Tory Lane. She actually got him held in contempt recently, just the other week. And things are going well on her end in her lawsuit against somebody that was harassing her online on behalf of Tory Lanez as well. So, you know, people have to be careful about what they're saying online, right? Acacia says, good morning, y'all. I did forget to mention yesterday that if you don't have enough space to grow outside, you can grow inside hydroponically. I got to look into that. There's this like brand that has a TikTok where they have these towers. They're very expensive though, and they're very big, but like you could grow insane, like 50 pounds a month of like fruits or vegetables on those towers. It's insane. Thank you again for all of your tips. I really love those tips that you guys shared yesterday about growing your own food. Kahara says, Jesse is dialed. You guys are so excited about the Valley. Okay, I'm going to bookmark your comment so that we can get to that for the Valley. Okay, Kahara, because I'm really looking forward to talking about that as well. Hey, Joy, nice to see you. Nice to see you too, Michelle. Minnie can't stand this man. Me neither. Honestly, I'm so disappointed in Brian McKnight and the way that he turned out. Like, it sucks to know so much about these celebrities, right? Because before we were so connected to what they had going on, like we loved them and we thought they were just normal people. But these scandals that we hear about them are just so alarming and disturbing. Tadisha says, I can't stand Brian for being a deadbeat dad to his adult children, but he's a dad to his younger kids and stepchildren, a loser. I feel the exact same way. It's really cruel what he does to his children. Nikki says, I was about to say, does she have anything after Cardi sued her? We definitely got into that and Tia's comment as well. Thea says, I do believe that people give Jaguar Wright way too much credit. Exactly. Listen, this woman, I do not believe she's credible at all. Maybe like a 5% chance on some of the things that she says. But why is it that people put, like, who is this lady? Where did they get her from? And why do they kind of put her on some kind of a pedestal to be speaking? She was on the Piers Morgan show spreading all these sorts of things, right? Jaleesa hates this woman. Right? She loathes her. I love that word, by the way, loathe. Nicole says, I'm so late, but good morning, everyone. Good morning, Boo. Good morning, Lucky. East Awesome says, Jaguar Wright is truly Jay-Z's farmer. Oh, that's why they have a hit song together. Do they? She was in those circles. It doesn't mean she's telling the truth. So is that why people are putting her on these platforms? Okay, listen, I got to do a deep dive into this woman because, you know, something tells me that she's not exactly like, well, and you know, what is it? Wound too tight. I don't think she's wound too tight. Jess says her stories have been quoted in the news. Yeah, in the US and even had her on national news. It never made sense to me. Exactly. Like they got to stop. They got to stop. Like what happened to the days of journalism where before you would trust a source to go out there and say things, you would ask for things to verify what it is that they're saying, right? Ali says Jay-Z didn't want his name in the media more than it already was associated with that. Yeah, true. If he had sued her, his name would be in the media like Ryan Reynolds is. And I do think that that is true. I know that he's suing the accuser right after she took back her claims and whatnot, but I imagine that he didn't want to, you know, spread his name out across various stories at this point. And it sucks, right? And I think that people like Jaguar who kind of are grifters, you know what I mean? And trying to bring people down, trying to usher in the downfall of people like off of lies, they kind of, they feed off of that, right? Knowing that these people, they're kind of between a rock and a hard place when it comes to suing them. Now, you guys, I have a story for you. And I really want, listen, if you're watching me live, I need you to let me know in the live chat. I'm going to play you a video. And then I'm going to show you some screenshots. Rumor has it that Benny Blanco is allegedly cheating on Selena Gomez. So I need you to let me know. If you guys are watching live, let me know in the live chat. And if you're part of my playback posse, first of all, shout out to you. Thank you so much. Let me know in the comment section. Do you believe that this story is true or false? I'm going to show you a video, the video that kind of set everything off. And then I'm going to show you a screenshot. And then we're going to talk about it. Okay. So do you guys know that guy on TikTok who goes around like singing to people against their will? And he already like did this to Benny Blanco at like a convenience store or something like that. And Benny Blanco, who I think is going to buy like ramen noodles. And he saw this guy, he like stood there like, yeah, and then put the ramen noodles back and left. That guy found Benny Blanco again. Benny Blanco was having lunch with a certain woman, and it set the internet on fire last night. Take a look.
I'm so sick of that same old love. That shit, it tears me up. I'm so sick of that same old love. My body's had enough. Period. Can I sing at the wedding? Well, can I?
Are you just like following me at this point?
I want to sing at the wedding.
Okay, y'all let me know. What do you think? What do you think? Was that suspicious? So that lady, that woman that Benny Blanco was having lunch with was somebody who is regarded as one of Selena Gomez's close friends. I didn't know that Selena Gomez had a close friend on OnlyFans. That was really surprising to me. So there's a fan page on TikTok called Selena Gomez Charts. And she posted this message. Selena Gomez unfollowed one of her best friends, Teresa Marie, after it was rumored Benny Blanco subscribed to her OnlyFans, right? The woman in this photo over there on the right is the woman that you saw in that video with Benny Blanco having lunch together privately. You know, I was talking about this with my sister, and I was talking about this with my bestie. I said, okay, how would you guys react? Like, you're engaged to somebody, right? And then your best friend is having lunch with a person and they get caught having lunch. What would your immediate thought be? Would you rush to think that there's an affair happening? Or would you think that, oh, maybe because we're in the middle of wedding planning and whatnot, there's a surprise. You know, maybe he's planning some kind of cool surprise for the wedding. Maybe he's planning a surprise wedding gift. Maybe he's planning something surprise for the honeymoon. You know, maybe I'm naive, but that's where my mind would go. But hearing that Selena unfollowed this chick, and then also hearing that Benny apparently was following her OnlyFans, I don't know, y'all. Something odd about that. I'm nervous. And I'm very surprised because Benny seems very dedicated to her. And let's face it, you know, Selena is a really good catch, right? An amazing catch. Like, Benny scored hardcore with Selena Gomez, right? But stranger things have happened, right? And a lot of guys whose whole persona revolves around how dedicated they are to their wives and girlfriends, or how much they love their wives and girlfriends, they get caught in these cheating scandals. Like, what wasn't that, like the Try Guys or something like that? The guy who was the wife guy, wasn't he cheating on his damn wife? Just saying. Doesn't mean that I believe that he's cheating, right? But I'm just saying. And by the way, am I naive? Like, if I were Selena, I would have assumed that they were planning a surprise for me. Like, to me, like, it would have been just such a foreign concept, but I don't know. Shem Jem says Selena needs to look for somebody else. Listen, if it's true that he's cheating, she does, even if it's not true. Who said that? You know, sometimes there's like a ghost who comes in here and just makes these really shady comments. It's annoying. Control Alt Delete says that they do not believe this, right? With who? Ali, it's let me put her photo back up. It's this girl, Teresa something. Apparently she's one of Selena's close friends. Apparently she was even Selena's assistant at one point, right? Teresa Marie. But here, the scoop is that apparently Benny was even following her OnlyFans, in which case, how do people even know, like, who you're following on OnlyFans and whatnot, right? I don't know. The whole thing is weird. It's weird, right? Melinda is not here for me smearing Benny's name. Caroline says, I hope he's not, but Selena can do so much better. I'm sorry, but I agree. I was kind of shocked when I saw that they were dating. Theo says that singing guy is so annoying. Listen, no offense to him, but I agree. Like, oh my God, I don't know what I would do if someone just like popped out of the blue and started like singing badly to me and I'm minding my own business trying to eat. Apologize to me and my food, damn it. East Awesome says, I couldn't imagine. Oh my God, East Awesome. That is so rude. Oh my God. Damn, you gave me a heart attack. Steph says, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Sam. Steph. Look, I'm so shook that I'm reading your name wrong. Oh my God, y'all are crazy. Well, Miss Fluffy says, I want to say it's false because Selena is gorgeous, but look at what happened to Megan Fox. Exactly. Look at what happened to Beyonce too. You know, everybody, when Beyonce came out dating Jay-Z, we were all like, Jay-Z? Beyond, like what? How? And then Turner, and then look who turns around and cheats on like a freaking goddess, right? Like, I don't know. The whole thing makes me sad. I hope it's not true, right? I really, really hope it's not true. And it's like Minnie says, sometimes as women, right? Please, have you guys ever done this where you're thinking about who to date and you see this guy and he's like not the hottest, you know, in the pack, but like, okay, and he adores you and whatnot. And so you're like, okay, well, he's probably not going to cheat on me because, you know, he adores me and like he's not that cute. How many options does he have? Damn, you know, just for him to turn around, bam, cheat on your things like that do happen, right? This is why you always go for as hot as you can get, ladies. Always go for the hottest. Shem said, because listen, and I was talking about this with my friend earlier. I said, listen, even if the hottie cheats on you, at least you had that hottie, you know, the good eye candy for a while. Shem says, I still want to know why Benny Blanco wasn't wearing shoes when he went to that's his whole thing. He does a lot of interviews with like no shoes and whatnot. And it's just, listen, God bless. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. Theo says people are blowing it out of proportion, right? Like the video to me, some people said it looked like they got caught doing something, but to me, it kind of looked like they were just minding their own business, having a lunch, you know? And again, I feel like she trusts her fiance. I think she trusts her friend, and that I don't know. I don't see it, to be honest with you guys. I don't see it, right? And Shem just, you know what? I'm the same way. I too think that she can do better. And I also do not think that he is cheating on her. Hey, Gail. Gail, I saw you yesterday. What's your daughter's name again? You and your daughter were leaving these comments on my on yesterday's morning report. It was so cute to see you guys. Thank you so much for popping back in again. Tadisha says, forget the lady. The singing was annoying. And also, that's weird that he's following Benny around, right? Like, he already did this to the guy once. Like, let's calm down, right? Like, do we have to do this a second time? Like, it's so irritating. I cringe on behalf of the celebrities that this man ambushes, you know? And it's no hate to him and his content. Like, he looks like he's having a good time. He seems to be a nice person and everything. But I'm like, oh my God, like, it must be nice to have that level of confidence. I couldn't do it. Nicole says, wow, that's BS. If it's a surprise, that's one thing, but it's inappropriate if Selena really stop being friends with her, right? Let me play the video again one time, okay, you guys? And you guys let me know. Let me play it again. And you guys, now that you know the message and that she unfollowed the girl who was supposed to be her good friend and who was once her assistant, and now rumors are out that Benny used to follow this chick on OnlyFans. Take a look. Let me know if this looks weird.
I'm so sick of that same old love. That shit, it tears me up. I'm so sick of that same old love. My body's had enough. Period. Can I sing at the wedding? Well, can I?
Are you just like following me at this point?
I want to sing at the wedding.
Me personally, it did not look like they were up to anything. Like, you know, if you were up to something and then someone comes in with a camera in your face, like you would probably have a panic, like a fight or flight reaction, but they looked super chill. Personally, I do not think that this is a scandal. So you know what, and I hope I'm right, but listen, I can be a little bit naive. I like to think the best of people. And so I'm really hoping that Benny Blanco wouldn't do that to her and that her best friend wouldn't do that to her either. Now, listen, speaking of things that I wish that people wouldn't do to other people, let's talk about what went down. Hey, shout out to the members of the Beehive who were there yesterday for the first night of Beyonce's concert, actually Monday, right? Unless you're one of the people that was involved in this damn brawl. Did you guys hear about the Beehive brawl in the you guys had money for VIP tickets and you were acting like this? That's crazy, right? So apparently after the concert, by the way, how beautiful is that photo of Beyonce and her daughters? You know, the juxtaposition between that and this is wild, right? Let me go back to that beautiful serene photo of like just this gorgeous family, right? So the concert ends, you know, and what do some people decide to do? To open up a can of whoop ass in the VIP section after the show. And to me, it feels like this happened out of nowhere and for no reason at all. I'm still having a hard time understanding why it even happened. All these people, like, there was so much space because sometimes, whenever there's like a lot of whenever there's a lot of commotion, like crowds and people like are accidentally or purposely elbowing each other and whatnot, yeah, that can lead to confrontations and whatnot, right? But at this event, at this space that they were in, there was lots of space. They were in the VIP area, like they were good, right? But then this one woman decides to just shove this other woman and just repeatedly try to pick a fight with her and whatnot. And it was just the weirdest thing. It's really unfortunate to see that happen and to kind of cloud some of the funness and some of like the positivity surrounding the concert, right? Because one thing about Beyonce is that she's a classy lady. She's a classy artist and her messages are typically, classy and whatnot. She doesn't encourage this kind of like, low down behavior. So let me go ahead, share my screen with you guys so you could see the video for yourselves. Like, listen, like I'm telling you, it was not cute. I was disappointed. I thought the Beehive was supposed to be nice and like classy and elegant and whatnot. Not this. Damn. Okay, so y'all let me know if you could see it. Okay, here we go. I'm gonna unmute it. And then I'm gonna share the screen with you guys. Is it going? Yes, voila. Here we are. Take a look, you guys.
Another show after the Beyonce show?
That's crazy. You would think that there'd be like security there, but the fact that that was able to happen without any intervention and then them being able to continue it for so long is crazy to me, right? Like I'm sad that happened at a Beyonce concert. Like it's not a good look at all. Very, very, embarrassing for everybody involved in that. I kind of like wonder like what happened before the camera started filming, right? Because to me, there was this one girl, the shorter one with like the golden boho braids, who just like pushed the girl and everything. So like at first glance, you go, okay, like what happened, right? Like, is she just, picking a fight for something, or did something happen? Did the person say something to her? Or did the person push her? But like, I don't know what happened, but it's really sad that things went to that level. Again, Beyonce, like she's such an elegant, classy lady who pushes a really positive message. And so to see that kind of behavior happen at one of her concerts is just really, really, really disappointing. Thankfully everybody's okay, no broken hips or nothing, but damn, really, really sad that happened at all. So I'm seeing more of you guys' comments coming in, and you guys, you don't seem to think that it was like a very suspicious video. However, the OnlyFans thing is really odd nonetheless. Gail says, I don't know what to think. He will be cheating on Selena Gomez. It would be stupid. Exactly. I agree. Listen, Benny, please do not cheat on our girl. Don't do it. Don't do it. Or we'll get you. Beyonce is peak class. Renaissance was epic, right? Right? What do you mean, Joy? Questioning whether or not the Beehive is classy. Yes, classy. What are you trying to say? Yes. It's the Beehive. This is not, who's like an artist where you'd be like, oh, like their fans are typically like a ratchet or something like that, right? Or just like, oh, like I would not associate that with the Beehive as well. Nikki, I think they were wasted. They had these drinks in their hands. I think they were wasted and just like completely out of it at this point. Yaya says, I hate the fact that video. Yeah. And in fact, instead of trying to urge them to stop, what are they saying? Ooh, like a fight, another show after the Beyonce show, boo. That is like an altercation, and it's it's not cute, it's not fun, it's not funny, and I hate that you are laughing at it as if it were, right? Very, very disappointing stuff to see. I've got to say, I do. I'm very disappointed in all of that. Like Kahara says, it's disgusting. Joy is not here for the outfits at all. Are you anti-Beyonce? Oh my God, Joy! I thought we were homegirls. Not you hating on my girl Beyonce. This is uncalled for. Just have exactly. You know, people should just be out there having a good time, like not getting into these kinds of like, you know, nasty situations. And yes, I do, Caroline. I do. Listen, listen, to me, like, I really try to go at things like believing that people are good people, you know, unless proven otherwise. But like, I try to stay more on the optimistic side. Like, you got to show me, you know, that you ain't ish first before I start believing that you ain't ish, right? Okay, listen, you can diss us all you want, Joy. I don't mind, but don't cover Beyonce. So thank you for correcting that. You guys, what else did we have on the agenda today? Oh yeah, Brittany. Oh, listen, don't forget, you guys, we are going to be recapping last night's episode of The Valley. But before we get into that, I wanted to show you guys this video clip that I got from Brittany on Watch What Happens Live last night. Did we all watch it? She was asked to rate Jax's bedroom skills, and I want to show you what it is that she had to say, and I want to get you guys' opinions on it because I do have a couple of things to say about her commentary there. So take a look at this video, and we'll talk about it on the flip side.
Give me one more for Brittany.
Brittany, on a scale from 1 to 10, how would you rate Jax in the bedroom?
Oh, Lord. There was times when he was about a 7 or an 8, but majority of the time, no stamina, no nothing. I'd say a 2 or 3.
Okay.
You can see that Andy Cohen is at least slightly mortified by that, which to me is kind of like, listen, Andy, stop pretending, stop playing innocent. Like, you set up that question, like, you know how things go down at your show. You guys are always messy, so don't try and play cute now, right? But to be honest, as much as I know she dislikes Jax right now, and she has every right to, I do find it to be a little tacky to have this kind of conversation about your, you know, your child's father on camera, on television and whatnot, because at the end of the day, like, the son is going to see it eventually, right? And then on top of that, when we go back and think about how desperate she was to be with this man, right? Literally everybody on that cast warned her. Ariana warned her, Stassi warned her, Katie warned her, Kristen warned her, Lisa Vanderpump warned her, what's the British boy's name? James warned her. Everybody told her, do not go for Jax Taylor. He ain't ish. He is a liar. He's a cheater. He's a thief. He's going to waste your time and he's going to put you through hell. You fought every single one of those people. You picked up your life and moved states for a man that now you're saying the sex wasn't even good. I'm sorry, but that's a self-drag. How desperate can you be? You know, at least if he was hitting it right, I would understand it. Because listen, men who hit it right are few and far between. So if you find one and you've got this chemistry that's incredible and you're going to, like, you know, you're going to forsake everything, I get it. But you were doing this for a man whose bedroom skills you'd rate a 2 or 3. That's insane. That's insane. I'm sorry, but like, to me, you're not dragging Jax when you say that. You are dragging yourself. I can't. I'm shook on that. Listen, let me see what you guys have to say. To It All says, whack him again, Brittany, whack him. Jaleesa says, Brittany stood with that man for years and he wasn't even good in bed. That's terrible. Exactly. The man was cheating on you. The man was just treating you like garbage. Everyone told you to run. You had multiple opportunities to run, like all these breakups you guys had, and you kept going back for trash peen. Are you kidding me? I'm sorry, man, but no, absolutely not. Listen, if I'm staying with a man like Jax, just know that if I had to rate it on a scale of 10, it would be a 200. Just so you know, right? Doing all that for a 2 out of 3 of 10, that's crazy. That's it, Gail, by the way. Your daughter's name is Jenna, yes. Watch LB on YouTube too. Oh, that's awesome. I really like LB. And we're still trying to like get together to do our collaboration, but it's so hard with the time difference. Ali says, mention it all though. East Awesome says, all these years I thought Jax was hung like a horse. Me too. I thought he was hitting it right, because you guys know I do my rewatch and they talk all the time about how they're like boning like 2-3 times a day. So really, like, you're actually accepting to do multiple rounds multiple times a week with that? Please, like, how insulting to your coochie. All these years, you're right. Like, I do not understand it. What did you see in that man at all? Right? 2 or 3 seems like she was putting it. So now at this point, right, Tiff, to me, it's like, did you love this guy, or, were you blind to everything and hanging on to this man for the opportunities that came with being with him, right? Like, did you pick up and move your life for a man who sucked in bed, treated you like crap, cheated on you, played you on TV, because you loved him, or because you wanted to continue being on TV and making a bunch of money, right? Because now, to me, it's looking like either your self-esteem is really low, in which case there's no shame in it. There's a lot of people with low self-esteem out there, right? Or you were playing the long con or the long game here, right? I don't know. Something about it is just so odd to me. I don't know. I don't think you're sticking it to Jax when you say this. It kind of reveals a little bit more about yourself. Good morning, Bunny. Nice to see you. Jaleesa says, girl, let her have it. LMAO, is Crew's going to go Google. That was my dad. Not Jaleesa chewing me. It's true. Okay, you're right. You're right. Let me put a star on this comment because this is hilarious, Jaleesa. You're right. That made me laugh too damn hard. Yo, why don't we talk about Dorit and PK, y'all? Do you remember how yesterday we were talking about how PK recently did his big coming out with his new girlfriend? Again, she looks absolutely fabulous. She's like 50 years old and she looks incredible. Listen, there are ladies in their 20s and 30s who do not look this, put together, right? Snatched. So kudos to her, absolutely. And kudos to PK for staying with somebody age appropriate for him, right? So this photo and Dorit filing for divorce came out at about the same time. And now, after all of this, a couple of days after the divorce filing and PK's outing with his new girl, which, by the way, did we discuss how I think PK called the paparazzi on himself? This man is so desperate for attention, so desperate. I 1000% believe that he called the paparazzi on himself. Nobody's following you, PK. Please. Right now, they had to both show up to support their son Jaguar in his baseball game. He's 9 years old, by the way, and this is how they showed up to the game, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, sitting as far away from as possible from each other. Right. And listen, I'm glad that they both still showed up nonetheless. It must have been incredibly uncomfortable for them to be there. Right. But doing that for their son is really special, I feel like. So kudos to them for being able to show up. They both have their sunglasses and everything. They did not want to mess about. Y'all love Jaleesa dragging me, right? That was so funny. Love you too, Jaleesa. You are a freaking hoot and a riot. But he says single PK is doing things to trigger Dorit. I agree. He's so desperate. He's thirsty. He's annoying. I don't know how she lasted like a decade plus with this man. Absolutely not. Nothing at all is appealing about him, in my opinion, but I digress. East Austin says Paul Kingsley has a roster of baddies. I don't like him, but the man pulls tens. And how? Okay, back in the days when he had a company worth a couple $100 million, okay, right? But now, bankruptcy, 2 bankruptcies, a house in pre-foreclosure, and you hotties are still, like, for what? Why are you wasting your hottiness on that? Like, there are men with actual money out there. Like, listen, I will never hate on a chick, a hypergamous girly, right? But go for a man with money, please. Right? That's crazy to me. Theo says they all call the paparazzi. That's true. I do think that Mauricio, I do think that Kyle also call the paparazzi. But to be honest, you don't really see the other people like in the press like that. Like Garcelle, who's more famous than these people. You don't really see her getting papped. You don't really see Dorit actually. Well, actually, yeah, you do. You do. Erica, rarely. You were mainly seeing her during like the Tom Girardi of it all, right? And I agree, Joy. It's so sad. Whenever you see people going through divorces, especially divorces that are incredibly contentious, right? You kind of wonder, like, damn, like, just you know, especially when you saw the way that they treated each other and spoke to each other. Like there was so much love there. There was so much love. Like when she would talk about him, like especially coming from her, I did always kind of get the impression that she was more in love with him than he was in with her. And I think that the way that this divorce is going kind of confirms that to me. But like there was so much love when she would talk about PK, my vibe, with her voice and whatnot. So to go from that to see like sitting like complete and utter strangers like this, you know, to support your child that you guys, you know, had together in love, right out of love, is just, it's really sad, y'all. It really is just so damn sad. East Austin says if PK were like Jesse Lollipop, I love how you call him Jesse Lollipop, he would have sat right next to Dory. Yup. Jesse is evil. He is just so, I can't stand him. Exactly. Listen, please, ladies, please, if you were going to go for a guy, maybe he's like too old for you, or maybe he's not good looking. Please, please, please let him at least have money. Otherwise, I'm going to be looking at you crazy. You know, it's like when I watch 90 Day Fiance and these like young girls who are like maybe like 20 and that get with these like 50, 60-year-old Americans. First of all, like, ew. Second of all, when the family accuses her of being a gold digger, like, please. This is why I loved Ann Fisa so much on that show. She said, yeah, and what about it? You know, do you think this man would be with me if I were ugly? No. So shut up. Mind your business, right? Mind your business. Lord, brokey indeed. I don't get it. Listen, ladies, there's so much better out there for you to pull. Anyway, y'all. What should we get? You know what? There's actually this one story that I was supposed to get ready for you guys. Remember how we talked about Javi being married now? Well, his wife, Lauren, did a Q&A on Instagram. And this is so embarrassing because I was supposed to have downloaded the photos, put it in the StreamYard, but I didn't do it, right? I don't know what's, you know, sometimes I completely forget things. Anyway, I do have the screenshots and I'm going to take you into my email inbox because I tried to airdrop them to myself, but they're not airdropping, right? So let's go into my email inbox and take a look at them together so that we can go over what it is that she had to say before I forget, right? Because this story was really shocking to a lot of you guys, the fact that they actually even did full-blown get married after all of the affairs that Javi had on Lauren, and then the way that he taunted her on social media with his ex-wife, Kale, and then she attacked him and caught like some sort of like restraining order. Did she get criminal charges for that? For allegedly, you know, getting physical with him and whatnot? No, let me know. But just all of that, you know, just to turn around and marry this man is so crazy, truly, right? So here it is. So this is some of the stuff that she revealed in her Q&A, okay? Someone said, I'm getting married in September. How do you wear your rings? And Lauren posts a picture of her rings. Remember, he had to replace the old engagement ring when he cheated. Actually, a great question. One that I've been having conversations about in my DMs today. So she puts the wedding ring closest to her and the engagement ring on top. And then people ask what kind of ring Javi was wearing, right? And so this is the official ring that he has, wedding ring. However, because he works out a lot, he wears a rubber ring most of the time. And then people were asking why the parents, you know, there's no family at this wedding, right? And so she has this huge explanation, which is essentially Javi's mom didn't come because she already saw him get married once. The only reason my dad was there was because we do this annual trip with him anyway, you know, to this beach or whatever. I don't know, y'all. I think that the truth is that her family is not thrilled that she decided to go ahead and marry this chronic cheater. And I think that his family knows he ain't shit. So they're not going to go spend their money to travel to celebrate his wedding, knowing that he's probably going to go back to doing what he does, right? And they also say that they're apparently going to have this big wedding in June. So let's keep an eye out for that, okay? So here's her exact quote. Only my dad, our kids, and our pastor were there. The trip with my dad was planned before the wedding. I'll do a story another time about how we ended up deciding to do it on this trip. And it's a trip we do annually with him. We have a reception planned for this summer with family and friends. They were fully supportive of this, and Javi's mom has got to experience his first already. So there was no issues. We wanted it to be something special for the boys and something intimate for our family and for my dad to walk me down the aisle. All right, girl. All right, girl, whatever you have to tell yourself. So then she talked about traveling across the country with her dress and how the people at the airline were really nice to her. Like they let her use like the closet that they've got over there for themselves and whatnot. And so there she is steaming her dress. And oh Lord, could she ever talk, right? Why did you guys buy instead of rent in Virginia? And so initially they were supposed to be renting near the base and whatnot, but it wasn't a great area, a safe area or something. And so they decided to just go ahead and purchase something. And then what else did somebody ask? Will you wear the dress to the reception or do a new dress? I'm obsessed. And she says both. I'm going to wear it for family photos and the beginning of the reception. And then I'll change into something lighter and easier to dance in. So, that's nice that she's going to get multiple uses out of her wedding dress. It's a very beautiful dress. So why not go ahead and wear it a second time? This time, for your family and friends to see you in it, right? And so the reason why they got married on that particular date, the 24th of April, was no particular reason other than it was when their photographer was available. She also showed herself getting her makeup done. People asked if she did her own makeup, but that wasn't the case. Here's Javi with the boys, very nice picture, all very well dressed up and whatnot. And then there was another question here. Since y'all moved, how is Javi go doing it to get Lincoln? I don't know what that means. And how do you guys like it there? We haven't moved yet. Jose, which is Javi, his name is Jose Javier, has to report today and will be back and forth for a couple months. And then we will go down after the boys are out of school. Javi has a post on his feed that goes into more detail. And we also did a podcast episode where they covered the entire move, and you schedule for those who missed it originally. Listen, she's not going to drop Kale's podcast name and give her any free promo. Absolutely not. That's how you know they still have some low-key beef, eh? And so this is her father walking her down the aisle with his granddaughter, her daughter, Macy, in his other hand. And I think it's so cute. That's a really beautiful photo. And the daughter is adorable. So there's the picture, the daddy's daughter picture. And that is all she wrote over there on Instagram. Sorry, I had to bring y'all into my email inbox for that. I should have had it already uploaded. But listen, I am such a little bit, I'm just so excited about the good weather. That's all I think about. East Awesome says, Javi has a nice smile. P.S. I don't watch the show. I'm judging by the pics you guys share. And he does have a nice smile. He and the kids do seem to be very happy. And, I agree with you, Coconut Culk, that I don't think his mom's all that happy about it. Missing out on your son's wedding to that chick he's been dating. Who wanted to hear me say this? I think it's JAV, to his long-suffering fiance. And your excuse for not going is not that you're unavailable or you don't have money. It's, I already went to his other wedding. That's crazy. I don't know if that's a good excuse. Acacia says their families definitely didn't support the marriage. Exactly. I don't think, and listen, can we blame them? I don't think it's a good, listen, it's her life, her decision, right? But if I were her family, like if that were my sister, would I go? You hear stories about like family members right, Nikki? And I don't know why they don't like her. She's been suffering because of their trifling ass son. They should worship her for sticking around. Can I ask you guys, have you ever had to like do that, to actually like full-blown boycott a loved one, whether it's a family member or a friend's wedding? Like they were going to marry someone that you knew was not a good idea. Either the person was abusive or just a terrible match for them. They invite you to the wedding and you just don't go because you do not support the union. Has that happened to you? I'm trying to think no, I don't think that's happened to me. I feel like sometimes, when your friends get into these terrible, toxic relationships, the friendship breaks down before, it even gets to the point where they want to marry each other. Like I told you guys about the friend I had here who has been dating a married man for 3 years now, and to me, just the whole like dating a married man. And this is the second married, like I didn't know her when she was dating that first married man, but to me, it was just too much. I said, listen, I'm not like, this is weird. I don't support this type of stuff. So, if he were to eventually divorce his wife and marry her, I wouldn't be there because we're not friends anymore. You know what I mean? Hey, Angelica, nice to see you. An actual live morning report. I just got off work early to do errands. Love that. And we've got lots more to talk about today. So you're in luck today too. Yeah, nice to see you, Angelica. Caroline, you had to stand on business. It sucks, doesn't it? Right? It really, really does. Because you love these people, you want to support these people, and you want them to be happy, but then they're making these decisions that are like, damn, this is not, it's not smart. East Austin says, my mom skipped my second brother's wedding. Oh, really? She made all of, really? His side was empty? Do you mind spilling the tea? What happened? Why? Well, was it the wife that was wrong, or was it your brother that wasn't like a good like partner? Like, what's the tea? Damn, here's one thing. It's one thing for you to not want to go, but then you like push everybody else to not go, like, damn, like she really didn't want that thing to happen, right? I feel like you told some stories about your brother, East Awesome. Like, I think you were saying something about him, like he's been married multiple times and then he's got kids with, correct me if I'm wrong, right? But we're talking about that, like he's got like kind of like, a bunch of kids or something like that. Is that why? Steph says, yes, I've done that to my best friend. Oh my God, I imagine that it was so painful, right? So painful. Oh, Steph didn't go because she got married at 17 to a man that's 8 years old. Oh Lord, thank God you did not go. We do not support pedophilia. That is crazy. Oh my God. And did her parents show up to that? Her family didn't talk her out of it? That's so sad. Lisa says, I would still go because it's not my life to dictate it. If she likes it, I love it. And I get that too, wanting to just be there to support. But sometimes something's happening that's just so, it just pains you, the idea. East Austin says, yes, it's the same brother that later stole from me. Oh, yes, there you go. Listen, I don't know what kind of issues that man has. I'm sorry, East Awesome. Your mom was right. And it must have been heartbreaking for her, because for her to like not go and whatnot, like it sounds like she wanted to raise him, and she did raise him like well and right and to do the right thing. And unfortunately, it's devastating to see him not go down that path that she set for him, and it sucks. It really does. Shem, I talk about this all the time. You don't remember? Yeah. She was like my first friend that I made here in Paris, and I still remember because at the time, I had just arrived, right? And so like I was still learning French and whatnot. And so I remember before our first, because I met her on Bumble BFF, before our first meeting, I would be studying like, little phrases in French. So like, because she doesn't speak a word of English either, right? So I was like, oh my God, like if she asked me about this, I'll be able to, like I was studying, French before a meeting with her. That's how I was at the time, anytime I do it, grocery shop, anything, I'd be like, what is the word for this? Like, oh my God, those times are so crazy to even think about now. But yeah. And it's the second time she does that, right? And she's still with him, eh? And he's still promising to leave that wife of his someday. Coconut Cut says, I didn't support my BFF's wedding, but I showed up for her. You know what? Yeah. And I get people like you and Jaleesa who still do show up nonetheless, even if you don't support something, right? It sucks. It sucks. Bunny says, my sister married a man with 4 babies. Oh, Lord, who came from a family of leeches. No, his sister moved into a neighbor's home and ended up sleeping with it. Oh, how do people like see these kinds of red flags and keep going forward and trying to like, oh my, you want to legally tie yourself to that? Jesus, the whole bloodline's a mess, right? Like what? Absolutely not. Joyce says, it's never happened to me, but it would take a lot for me to attend the wedding, right? Like you don't want to go and like bring your sad vibes or your like vibes of just non-support, So sometimes it's better to just stay home. Shay, you're back. I'm late meetings. Benny cheating on Selena, the audacity, the temerity when you give a handsomely challenged man a chance. Listen, right? And listen, maybe he wasn't. It was just rumored because of that video, but go check out that video and you'll see. To me, I don't see it, but there's also some OnlyFans rumors as well, right? Her parents are sick in the head too. That's crazy, honestly. That is so damn sad. East Austin says, the wife wasn't good enough for him? What? Oh my God. Okay, that I was not expecting that at all. I'm sorry. I was not expecting that at all. That's crazy. That's crazy. I can't. And it's so sad because again, like, listen, luckily for me, like everybody, all my friends who are married, they're married to people where you're like, okay, like they seem to be treated well, like, and all this sort of things. Like I'm happy for them and whatnot, but I don't know what I would do like in that kind of like situation, like, I don't think I would go, to be honest with you, just because I know myself and I'm like the type where like you could see it on my face if I'm not happy with something, right? Or like read it in my energy. And I don't want to bring that kind of energy. So I would just not go. I'm sick. sort of a thing. Theo saying, comment se dit homewrecker en français? You know what? There's not really a direct translation for it. I think that people would just say c'est une pute, it's a whore or something like that instead, basically. Yeah. But I don't know. Honestly, it's sad. I don't know why she does that. She's a really beautiful girl. She's a successful girl. Like, why do that? She's, you know, she's a young girl too. Like, why do that? And these men have all these kids too, by the way. Like, imagine that. Like, and she started doing this in her 20s. Imagine you are, let me give you a little, listen, I talk too much. I gotta go soon. But anyway, imagine you're like 24 years old, right? And this guy who works with you is like pushing 50, got a wife and got like has 2 children, right? And then you start having an affair of sorts with him. And then the wife kicks him out, moves him into your apartment. So he's living with you and you already have like a roommate. And the man is not even contributing, and he's your boss. And the man is not even contributing anything to your house. This old man, you know, there's this new TikTok song going around calling, why are you with this middle-aged man? Like middle-aged weirdo, like that sort of a thing. The new one, by the way, he's rich at least, right? The new one is rich. So there's that, but still, I don't support dating married people. So I had to see myself out of that friendship. Absolutely freaking not. You guys, what else do we have to talk about before we get into the Valley recap? I got to get into that ASAP, right? So Giselle, she was on Watch What Happens Live. She wants us to believe that she has intel on how Karen Huger is doing in jail, right? So I'm going to tell you what Giselle claimed on Watch What Happens Live, but I just want to remind you guys that Giselle is not connected to Karen right now. She actually recently admitted that Ray did not put her on the list of people to have any kind of direct contact with Karen Huger, because Karen Huger knows that Giselle is messy. Giselle has no storyline of her own. Giselle loves the downfall of others. You know, misery loves company with that woman, and that she puts, you know, she lies about things. She puts some spin on things that she hears, some stank on it, right? So just so you know, this is not 100% reliable information, right? So she says that she's been in contact with someone that's very close to her about her safety and all of that. You see, she's not in direct communication with Karen because she's a snake and she's a liar and she's a fraud and she is somebody who will try to ruin your life. Right? From what I understand, they love her up where she is right now. They absolutely love her. They're loving the Grande Dame. And you know she's running that thing. I feel very good about the fact that she's safe. And she and Ray are still adjusting. Girl, you do not know a damn thing about anything. This is secondhand or maybe even third-hand information coming out of you because you are not Karen's real friend. Just FYI, you guys, take it with a grain of salt. East Awesome says Giselle has been looking a lot nicer. Her style has improved. I agree. Even during Bravo's Love Hotel, both she and Ashley were crushing it with their fashions. Like, they need to keep the new stylists that they have hired, because I'm sorry, they used to look a mess. You know, they have been looking a mess for too damn long, right? So kudos to them for that. Steph says gross. Absolutely, right? And so nice to have you here, Mandy. I love that, cleaning and listening in the background. So yeah, there's a little update. And then I'm going to give you a Jax update real quickly before we get into a recap of the Valley. And don't forget, we got some of our word from our sponsors while I finish my water. I'm drinking my chia water and I'm out. So I'm going to get some more. Jax, he was supposed to go on tour with his podcast, but a lot of his dates actually got canceled because of the DV that he admitted on the Valley to inflicting on Brittany. So for those of you who do not know, there was a confrontation between the two of them. They were separated, meaning that they were both free to sleep with and date other people, but he wants to play victim because Brittany was seeing this man, hooking up with him and sending him nudes. And then he flipped a coffee table onto her and it bruised her knee and her leg. Then he started throwing around the bar stools of their house and whatnot. And their child was in the house when all of this happened. And so people are really, really upset about this. And they had been writing into all of the places that Jax was supposed to go on his tour. And they managed to get quite a few of the dates canceled, you guys. So it was supposed to launch on April 18th in Nashville, Tennessee, but it never happened. Right. And then there are a couple of other dates that were also just, you know, dropped from it. So for example, he was supposed to be at in Austin, Texas on May 16th at a place called Wanderlust Wine Company. And they say that just Jax's behavior does not align with what the company stands for. And they're going to be looking into hiring an alternative host. So Jax, you know, I'm happy that he is finally facing consequences for his actions. Unfortunately, a lot of the men, at least half of the men on Vanderpump Rules, are what I would consider to be abusers, right? And they've been able to get away with it for so damn long. And at this point, I'm happy that we're finally in a space where people are speaking up and they're using their voices and they're using their reach and whatever it is that they can to stop allowing these people to cash in on their notoriety when they're doing these sorts of harmful things to other people. And thank you, Joy. Yeah, like, no, I don't align with these types of people. You know, I just, yuck. And, you know, I really heavily judge people who go after married people. And it's like, and I don't want to be judging my friends, right? And I agree. Shamia, but here's the thing. Shamia apparently has these kinds of rumors about herself too. Apparently she too, like, you know, goes after married men. Apparently, like, she and Portia, they worship money, right? And so to them, like, anything, all's fair in love and war when it comes to money. And so she has had a lot of, you know, rumors of her own shenanigans or sexcapades with married men. Allegedly. Gwen says, yeah, even back then I knew something wasn't right about that. Oh, child, what are you talking? I gotta go back and see this in the playback. I'm sorry, y'all. It's just like I have to power through this to get to the valley before I'm not doing my salsa class tonight because there's someone there that creeps me out on Wednesday nights. I'm gonna do kizomba tonight. East Awesome says Jax threw a coffee table and chairs and he thinks it's okay. Exactly. And we saw him still blaming Brittany for everything in last night's episode of The Valley, right? So Lisa says, Jax is here for my birthday. And man, I was like, should I go and call him out? Bring tomatoes and throw them at his head. Do you guys remember when people were doing that to Tom Sandoval? But the unfortunate thing is he still cashes the check, you know, from bringing people in. I would like to see a venue completely empty with nobody wanting to be there to, you know, to fill up the place for him. Nicole says, wow, that's so sad. You should never get violent no matter how mad you are. I agree. Very, very sad and disgusting that he did that, especially in the presence of his child. And you guys saw the effect that this had on his child, right? So first of all, he kicked Brittany and the child out. They've been hopping around from Airbnb to Airbnb throughout this divorce while he's comfortable in the house, right? And then when he comes to see the child for the first time in a while, he's like putting his hands out like the child is supposed to run and hug him, but the child curls up into a little ball because he's scared of this guy, right? That pic of Jax on the porch looked good. Did it? Which picture of him on the porch? Do I have a picture of him on the porch? I have the family picture and him on. Is this a porch? Oh my God, that's so funny. I thought this was Watch What Happens Live. Kahara says, I missed your live yesterday. I watched back with the playback posse, but Giselle was being typical Giselle when she profiled Wale. She is vile. I agree. And thanks for reminding me, Kahara. I've got to clip that and put it up as an individual video. I think this is probably about a year old maximum because he's got his new kind of like wax face situation going on, right? So just an FYI on that. And I agree, Tiff. Now, you guys, and let me get into Stephanie's last comment. I never watched Vanderpump Rules, but I watched another YouTuber's deep dive on the drama this morning. And what did you think? It was very, very bad, especially when you rewatch it, like, you know, with all this age now. It's crazy. And oh my God, stay safe, Michelle. I'm so sad to hear about tornado watch happening in your area. Stay safe and please keep us updated, okay? You guys, now I've got to take a break. I got to drink some water. And then I got to get some of these photos together for the next part of our morning report. We are going to be discussing what went down on last night's episode of The Valley. I almost said Vanderpump Rules because we were just talking so much about Vanderpump Rules, right? So give me a quick second. I'm going to take a sip of water. We have a word from some of our sponsors, and on the flip side, we're going to discuss that. The morning report is brought to you by Philo. Watch your favorite shows and movies from over 70 different channels, including MTV, TLC, WeTV, and more for only $28 a month. Get a free trial today by clicking the link in the description box of this video to get your free trial up and running. Are you looking for the perfect skincare products for women over 30? Look no further than Ruthia. Ruthia is a skincare brand born from love and made for parents. Their flagship product, the Resilience Cream, delivers clinically proven age prevention benefits such as average 14% wrinkle reduction after 4 weeks of use. Click the link below and receive 30% off your first purchase today. We are back. So now I am trying to find my photos from The Valley, okay? And I have to say, you guys, really, really, really crazy episode. I'm missing the last 5 minutes of it, and I'm so pissed because in these last 5 minutes are when you see Michelle confront her estranged husband Jesse for the sick rumors that he started spreading about her. And this is a rumor that was very prevalent in the trailer for the season of the show. So basically, Jesse wrote in a group chat that all of the guys have between themselves that Michelle is sleeping with a billionaire for $1,500 a night. Which is way too low if you're sleeping with a billionaire, right? Way too low, right? And so it seems like he's pissed off that she's not broke, right? So he's like, how is it that Michelle is making all this money? Like, how is she paying her bills? How did she get this new house and stuff? And this must be the reason why, right? And so very sad. That guy is just so incredibly vengeful against her, right? And he's still trying to figure out if she cheated on him, how many people, I get having suspicions that your husband or wife, your partner, whatever, was cheating on you, but this obsession has been consuming Jesse, right? And so he has Kristen and Luke over to talk about some of the things that he noticed about Michelle. And so he's like, all of it is pointing to the fact that she was cheating on me with her current boyfriend. Although this is a different boyfriend than the one that Kristen accused her of cheating with. So apparently she cheated with at least 2 different people. And here's the thing, even if we hate Jesse, just independent of that, right? Do you believe him that Michelle cheated on him? Me personally, just based off some of the stuff she said, I'm sorry that my husband didn't touch me or didn't want to sleep with me or this or that. I get the vibe that it's yes, but at this point, I feel like I don't it's over, it sucks, but it's over and we got to kind of move on, right? So some of the clues he has that Michelle was cheating on him with her current boyfriend is that the boyfriend has a honey company, and it's a brand of honey that Michelle had kept in their marital fridge for at least 2 years. And when he said that, it reminded me so much of the Shakira situation. Y'all remember the jam, the infamous jam, right? So now in this situation, it's honey that might be the smoking gun in an affair, right? And so when she goes hiking, right, she wears makeup. And, why would she be wearing all sorts of things like that, right? And how she would go grocery shopping in Runyon, which is not in their neighborhood. He's like, why is she doing grocery shopping all the way over there? Turns out that her new boyfriend lives there. So to be honest, I do believe that there might have been some slight overlap. But at the same time, I think that he's misrepresenting their divorce and separation, because here's the thing. Sometimes you already have conversations with somebody that you live with, whether you're married or you're dating, and you say, hey, listen, this relationship is not working. It's not going anywhere. And I am not interested in continuing to try. So as of right now, we are no longer together. You are free to do what you want, and I'm free to do what I want, right? But you're still living together because it takes a while for somebody to move out, right? I think that that's what happened, and that, there were separations even prior to the end, right? And so he's acting like there was no separation and this is cheating. I feel, I get the vibe that yes, she was seeing other people, but that there was some kind of agreement, right? It's kind of like Jax, where he and Brittany had an agreement that they were separated. She gets her separated cheeks clapped, and he starts freaking out like she wasn't supposed to do what she can do as a single woman, right? Just saying. And yes, Jax is a pathological liar. He even lied about serving in some kind of a war. I was going to say Vietnam, but I don't think he's that old. Delisa says, did you see the after show? Michelle clocked him for being a brokey. She even said it on the show itself, right? When the girls were talking about the billionaire and the $1,500 a night. She's like, he's broke. He can't pay his damn rent. That's why he's mad, blah, blah. It was wild. Stuff says if she were with a billionaire, she'd be charging $5,000 per night. Is that high enough? I want you to charge $25,000, and then have him meet you down at maybe, something billionaire, you guys, billion with a B. It's more money than he, his children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren can ever spend. We got to make their pockets hurt if we're going to, Tiff says jealous of the money. And, by the way, who people say the billionaire is? And this is how people throw around the word billionaire, because this man is not a billionaire. And y'all, listen, if any of you here right now in the live chat or in the playback posse were to be screwing Quentin Tarrant, hang on, I'm going to say it. It's just, Quentin Tarantino, please charge $100,000 a stroke, because that is, oh Lord, the amount of freaking like what alcohol or whatever, drugs, something you would need to do that, like probably totals more than $5,000. So please charge at least $100K if it's someone like Quentin Tarantino we're trying to bone you. Oh my God, that's the rumor. And I agree, Tiff. Jesse is weird. He's vicious. He's got very, very evil, like just, violent, angry energy bubbling under the surface, right? And we saw him shove Kristen in season 1 of the show when he was having a confrontation with her. Remember when it leaked out into the hallway and he shoved Brittany trying to lunge at Kristen. And then when he would be having confrontations with the ladies, he'd be slamming the table. He's so aggressive towards women. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw him catch a charge one day. Just saying, right? East Austin has some tea from the after show. Jesse is broke but pretends to. This bougie man, wait a minute. Isn't this the bougie man with the club? Doesn't he have this members club with his friends, and they go to these expensive restaurants, they drink these expensive wines with zero, what? He dines with the rich and spends like a billionaire. He stopped working. Really? Why would you stop working when you get your wife pregnant? That's when you work more. Because now, the lifestyle you have for 2 is not enough. You need more, right? For the child as well. That's a new person, right? And I agree with you, Jaleesa. If she did, good for her. This man is a nightmare, right? The way he used to talk to her whispers. I would have, listen. We support women's rights and we support women's wrongs around here. Michelle claims she tried to leave just exactly. I think that's what happened. There was probably some kind of separation or something. He was not blindsided by this, and he was probably screwing people on the side, knowing it's over too. He wants to play the victim, and we saw this in last week's episode of the show where he comes with his, his puppy dog eyes and the tears, and she calls him out for it. She says, "Listen, you want to do this for the cameras," and he immediately stops. Someone who's really distressed the way he wanted to act like he was distressed would not be able to turn it off like that. Absolutely not. She was planning an escape, and sometimes, unfortunately, when you live with someone, and especially when you got a child with them, in a marriage, it's hard, it takes you a while, but it's already over, right? Oh my God. Getting all kinds of honey, right? Exactly. So listen, it looks like the audience is not falling for the okie doke. When it comes to this, we're not falling for the isn't that funny, y'all? We're not falling for the okie doke. We're not following for him manipulating us. Absolutely not, right? She suffered through the pregnancy alone. She tried to leave him for a year, and even the first year of the daughter's life, apparently he didn't want to do anything, right? Come on, if she was cheating with only 1 or 2 guys, she's a saint. I would have been cheating with the whole brokerage on his desk. Running like 2 peas in a pod. These men need to take a hike. I agree. I don't blame her for running either. No, me neither. Listen, we all thought that man was sold. He's awesome. She says that he's awesome is like the one in Shannon Sharp's case. Shannon Sharp's chick wanted $25K a cheek too. And Shannon isn't even a billionaire, right? See, this is why we gotta raise our prices, y'all, if we're gonna be doing that. Yes, you guys, the rumor has it that she was screwing Quentin Tarantino. I'm sorry, but $1,500, listen, and I'm not gonna hate on anybody who who's not giving it up for free, right? Whatever. Am I better than you because I'm giving it up for free? No. Okay, so I'm not going to judge, but please get some real money out of these people, right? And Quentin, listen, letting that man play with your feet? Absolutely not. I wouldn't let that man play with my jacket. Ugh, oh God, he needs a lot of money. Ew, just the vision. All of this is just gross, And what he's asking for as a foot person is specialty stuff, this is specialty stuff, which means it should be even more expensive than regular, vanilla, whatever it is, right? Come on now. By the way, what do you guys think about Michelle's new boyfriend? Because I did have to say, I found it odd that they were like promoting his honey on the company, right? So they were doing these flashbacks of like Michelle and him like doing demos of his honey to the rest of the people, like a tasting, and she's wearing a shirt promoting his honey brand. I said, girl, no, that is your boyfriend of like what, 10 months, a year, something like that. Don't give him free promo on Bravo. Absolutely freaking not. Like, you don't know yet if this guy is just using you or something. That to me gave off weird vibes. It gave off user vibes, if I could be very honest with you guys. By the way, even though it was Jesse who made the comments about her giving it up for $1,500 a night to a billionaire, it was this guy. Who is this guy, the youth preacher looking guy? What is his name? He's the one who told Luke that. And you know what? I have a picture of Luke that I have to put up for you guys because I startled myself when I saw him in this confessional. Because typically when you look at Luke, even in this photo of him talking to the youth pastor guy, like he just looks like a regular kind of unassuming, shy, like boy, right? Like he's very boyish, right? And y'all know I'm not attracted to boyishness, right? And then he does this confessional. And all of a sudden, he grows out his hair, he grows out his beard, and he looks the hell good. Did you guys think that too? Like, what happened? Like, it's crazy what a difference a hairstyle can make on somebody. It can completely transform you. Like, you know, he looks like he's got so much sway. Like, look at the difference between him here and him here. It's crazy. Absolutely insane, you know, like, wow, he needs to keep this look. This look looks much better on him than his usual. He looks sure of himself. He looks confident. He looks manly. Like, yeah, that was amazing, right? By the way, I think that thank you guys. His name is Danny. So Danny is the one who put that information out there. Speaking of Danny, he's not going out squeaky clean. This season, it looks like they're going to explore the idea of him potentially having some sort of an alcohol addiction or an alcohol problem. And they kind of preface it by saying, hey, listen, it's not like he drinks all the time or anything like that. However, when he does drink, he takes it too far. And I'm glad y'all agree. We're not giving men free promo, or anybody, men or women, whatever you're dating, free promo. No. If you want to use my platform to promote your company, you're breaking me off with either a promotional money or a piece of your company if you don't have the cash to give me yet, right? So Jason and Jesse, they start talking about how Danny drinks a little bit too much. Hey, Ramster, nice to see you, boo. And they're saying, listen, it's not like he's a party animal. It's just the few times that he does drink, it's excessive. And so apparently he made some weird comments to Jasmine. By the way, Jasmine, like, I feel like she only ever really has these kind of like 2-second cameos per episode. And it's rather disappointing, to be honest with you. So he was sitting next to her at an event and he puts his hand on her thigh and he goes, why don't you go get daddy a drink? Excuse you? Huh? And she actually went ahead and did it. That's weird. And then after, when she comes back, he sees her girlfriend and he grabs her ass or something. Like, that's SA, right? This is serious, the stuff that's happening, right? Like, that is, very worrisome, very troublesome. You know, he's got a very, very lovely wife. You know, he's got these young, lovely children. Like, the idea that he could potentially throw all of this away, like, over alcohol, like, I see why, you know, they're always panicking to get out of places early, right? I think she knows that there's something going on there, and she's typically trying to get him out of places before he blacks out drunk like that. The only place that she wasn't able to, because they were sleeping over there, was the Halloween episode. Remember when they were up at that cabin? So that's why things wound up the way that they did. Listen, I wouldn't be surprised if I heard this man was cheating on her. Because if you could do this with Jasmine and Jasmine's girlfriend, and they're on a reality TV show, knowing this would be blasted, I think he could do this with a random chick. He would take it even further with a random chick. And I think that his wife needs to be a little bit concerned about that, right? Because that is something that is very, very dangerous, right? What's her name? Michelle or something? No, her name's not Michelle. The other one's Michelle. Listen, these people, they're kind of very like, they're not that relevant to me, to be honest with you. Like, on the show, like, this couple, like, they're kind of boring, and not in a bad way, like a nice, lovely people boring kind of way. So yeah, I can rarely remember what they're called. Yeah, and I agree, right? They said, listen, we're rehiring people who were fired for being, racist, and Jax was also homophobic. So why don't we put a black girl in here? Why don't we put a gay man in here? That way we can, show that they can coexist. And while we're here, y'all remember when I was shaking that table a little bit, talking about Giselle and her unchecked, rampant colorism? Why don't we shake the table again when it comes to Janet on this? No, Janice, the other girl. When we talk about Jasmine on The Valley, there was something that stuck out to me in season 1. Do you guys remember in season 1 where they were asking all of these guys, who in this group, like if you could choose one person that's not your wife, who would you sleep with? Pretty much everybody said Jasmine. And these are all people, I've never heard of Jax having a black girlfriend. When he cheated on Brittany, it was with Faith, right? But these are all people that are married to white women, right? But if they could sleep with one person, it would be Jax. Something about it rubbed me the wrong way. It did. And now hearing that this man, when he gets drunk, he starts feeling up on Jasmine, ordering her to go grab him drinks and stuff, and, sexually harassing her girlfriend. Weird vibes. Weird vibes. East Austin says, Danny is going to have an epic crash out in a few years. I agree. The red flags are all there. These men are friends with Jax for a reason, period. Notice the lawyer's not in the group chat and keeps his distance. And he's very smart too. You do not want to be caught up in the nonsense that they get involved in over there. And I imagine, listen, his excuse for not being in the group chat was that he has an Android. I imagine he has an iPhone, but he pretends he only has an Android when he's around these men to stay out of that damn group chat. Thank you. Her name is Nia. She's very beautiful, but she's very uninteresting to me, to be honest with you, right? She's got too much going on, right? Why is my stuff not clicking? The chat is hilarious. They are, right? And you too, Tiff. You guys are all absolutely hilarious. East Austin says Danny and Nia are DEI hires for Mega. Damn, you know what? Zach will have a good storyline when his deported boyfriend joins the show, and I'm excited for that. I do think that he he needs to bring his boyfriend on so we could see more. I'm still so shocked. The way he was crying, you would think the boyfriend was going to be deported to a country where it would be impossible for him to come back to the U.S. Visa issue. He's from Canada. He could spend half the year in Canada, half the year in U.S. Both of them have that option. Like, there's a very, very friendly relationship between the two countries. Stop it. Ramsey says, tomorrow I'll be on time. You look at me. Thank you. What show have I missed? For today's episode, right, where you talk about what shows, because this one is The Valley and then Bravo's Love Hotel, like we talked about yesterday. But today we talked about Brian McKnight suing Jaguar, right? Then we talked about Benny Blanco allegedly cheating on Selena, Brittany dragging Jax's bedroom skills, Dorit and PK going to their son's baseball game together, Giselle giving tea on how Karen's doing behind bars, Jax, his tour is getting canceled left and right, all sorts of things like that. So yeah, maybe you're going to join part of like the playback posse if you have time today, but if not, I'll see you tomorrow as well, Ramster. Always so great to have you here. So you guys, we definitely have to keep an eye on Danny. I kind of feel like he's overwhelmed. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, I think that he and Nia, for religious reasons, they feel like they should have like a huge amount of children, but then maybe it's not all that, I don't know. Like, I feel like maybe it's a bit much for them to handle, right? Like the 3 under 3, soon to be like 4 under 5 or something. It's a lot to handle, right? And so maybe that's been very overwhelming to him. Maybe financial stuff, right? Like, he was a child actor, and I know he does some voice acting, but that's not very stable, steady work. And then on top of that, Nia also doesn't really have very stable, steady work. So I think that, worrying about their financial future might be something that's eating him up as well. And it is a little bit nerve-wracking to see that in him, right? So yeah. By the way, it was really heart-wrenching to watch Kristen do all of these things to try and get pregnant. They were talking about suffering pregnancy loss. She goes through like acupuncture, like to try and get pregnant, fertility acupuncture. There was an awful lot of that type of stuff going on, which, I really, really do hope that we do know that it does work out, right? She is pregnant currently, right? With a girl, I believe. Thank you. Thank you so much. Lisa says, I was going to bring it up, right? Something about it was so odd. I don't like it. I don't. And you know what? When they do the reunion, I hope that she brings it up as well because we all see it. Tiff says Brian McKnight is suing Jaguar. Oh, you didn't see that? Oh, you must have joined it a little bit afterwards. Yes, that was one of her first stories. And Ramster, I have an update for you because I think you were here when I was talking about when I went to see like my trainer for the first time and I forgot to wear my leggings, or I forgot to bring leggings because I was debating between two and I thought I put one, but I put none. Well, I wore my leggings under my jeans today to make sure that I was not turning up like that again. So there was that as well. I did see a comment here earlier. I think it was from Ali, but I'm not sure. I'm having a hard time. Oh, there it is. Ali says Danny needs to get snipped. I agree. I kind of feel like he's overwhelmed already with the 3, but Nia really wanted the 4th, and he really wanted to get out of the alley. And that was the only way he can get the family out. And so he decided to kind of go for it at that point, right? East Awesome, I have a comment of yours a little bit earlier. You'd said that Jesse Lollipop, it makes me laugh every single time, like it's the first time. But he's is a petty little man, but he's so damn popular. His after show appearance confirmed he's mentally terrorized. Really? I am going to have to go and see that after show. Y'all, I kid you not. I was making my little bagel and watching the show at the same time, like 30 minutes before going live with you guys. I really did not, get to see the after show or anything like that. But il me reste 5 minutes. I have 5 minutes left of the show. And then I'm going to watch the after show too. Ali says, do we think he had a good bedroom skills like his bed? No. Jax, guys like that where they have to listen. You know what it is? Think of it this way, a resume, right? Like how it's not good to be jumping around from job to job to job to job, like every 6 months, every year or something like that. And your resume, it shows, maybe you're not good at your job. And so you have to keep switching because people are firing you or pressuring you out. That's how I see men like Jax, who are hypersexual, who are promiscuous, sleeping with everybody. It's because nobody's trying to keep you in that whack D that you're slinging, right? They're like, oh God, I'm never doing this again. And that's why you need to sleep around and you do not have regular, anybody who wants to have regular intercourse with you. That's just my hypothesis, right? Kahara had also said earlier, Jessie is diabolical, but I have to say I didn't see one tear fall from Michelle's eyes, but I feel bad for her because Jessie is disrespectful as not me almost cursing, as F. And you know what? I did take a screenshot, Kahara, because I did find her reaction a little bit odd. So this is her immediate reaction when Brittany tells her what the people were saying. She kind of just looks and smiles. To me, it's kind of like, okay, well, does that mean that she knew this was coming? Like she had heard somebody else tell her this already? Or, right? Like, what is it? Right? But then she did later kind of say that she hates him and she had a little bit of a breakdown. Like, I think like she's just so used to this man and just trying to terrorize her and whatnot that she's just so exhausted and doesn't even know what to think, what to say at this point, right? East Awesome says, Jessie warned Michelle that he was going to make, yep, she did say that in episode 1 or 2. Her life hell if she left him. The tea is that Michelle tried to leave him 1 year before the show began. He failed her during her pregnancy. It's so sad. I believe every bit of it. This guy is so unhinged. And I hate that there are people who are like crap on Michelle to like uplift this guy. Like you could see that this guy is not a good guy, right? Gwen had a tip for us about having a beekeeper as a neighbor. Local honey. Oh, I love that. Guys, I cannot overstate just how excited I am to have a home, have a garden, maybe even have a beekeeper neighbor like Gwen is taught, like, just the quiet life. I have been wondering though, because I will tell you, if you guys are ever thinking about coming to the French countryside, Dordogne is like a pretty cheap place to do it. You can get a good house and like a second house if you want like a property, like a good big plot of land, and it's near Bordeaux. And I'm like, oh my God, I got to see how old the other people are though. Are young people, moving to the countryside too, or will I feel kind of like lonely? I don't know. We'll see. Tip says, good job, Grace. Thank you. Thank you. Danny creeps me out. She is too, you know what? There's something about Danny that feels like it's a character. I don't think that Danny is living his authentic truth. I don't know what his truth is, but like the way he speaks is always like a character, always jokey. Like you don't really get to see like the real him. Am I wrong? Oh, listen, if you have to sling it around to everybody's because nobody wants to keep it. Just saying. Kahara says he goes heavy on coke. Of course he's bad at, don't even get me started on that. That's kind of like a whiskey D, right? Bunny says Jax is good looking and he knows how to chat up women. He says everything they want to hear. And that's the thing. He knows that women are attracted to him. And so like he feels like that gives him free reign to like play in our faces, right? And so I'm happy that more and more people are finally saying no. He saw some, Michelle cried a lot. She smiles before she, yeah. I did notice that too. Like at first she was just in shock. Like, what the heck? Like, really, this is where things have gotten. It's just so ugly. It really is, right? And yeah, you know, Kiki, a lot of people are like, listen, Jaguar's broke. Why would I spend my money suing someone who can't even pay me the money she'd owe me, right? But I think that for the principle of it, more people need to, right? Says, I never really got the appeal of Jax. You know what? I feel the same way, you know, especially in the first few seasons. You know what I will actually tell you about Jax? To me, in the first few seasons of like Vanderpump Rules, where they were like, oh, he's so, I was like, really? You know who he, no, I'm not going to tell you who he looks like to me. But I will tell you guys this. I will tell you, I actually, unfortunately, against my better judgment, let me put up the picture. I find the latest iteration of his face the most attractive. Like this to me is, he looks better than he usually does. But he's still not my type. You know, I still do not find him attractive. There's just something so like, ugh, about him to me. And I think maybe for us, it's because we know too much, right? We know that, you know, he's just not a great guy, right? Local honey cures a lot of, oh man, really? That's amazing. You know, when Megan had released her like line, which reminds me, guys, you know what? At the Indian store that I went to for my hair products, they had dried flowers. So Megan doesn't ship her products outside of the US, right? So I wasn't able to get my hands on it. And I was so amazed at the dried flowers and stuff that like she was making for her, like, you know, just regular to sprinkle on top of her food to make it look super beautiful, right? I've been so obsessed and I found some at the Indian store. So now when I'm eating my like Greek yogurts and stuff, I put my little, you know, edible dried flowers and it's just like a touch of heaven, right? So beautiful, right? And so you guys talking about bees reminded me of how she was selling honeycomb. I've never tried honeycomb. I want to taste it. I love crunchy things, right? Abbey Hotel is also pretty sweet for garden and environment. Absolutely. You know, I think Acacia doesn't have bees, but like a lot of her flowers in her garden, like she specifically has to help, like, you know, with the local bee population and with the butterflies and whatnot. And I think it's absolutely amazing. Gwen says, I have a grape trellis. Oh, that produces enough grape. Listen, I'm so happy for you, Gwen. I really am. I'm so jealous. Oh my God, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing, you guys. Absolutely. You guys are living the dream. You know, for me, the dream used to be like living in a big city. And it's, you know, it's amazing. It really is. The amount of things I've learned here, like, and there are people from all these cultures and countries I've seen here, incredible. But now for me, the new dream is countryside living. Bunny says, beekeeping is hard. A local beekeeper's bees left the hive. Oh no, and they became a problem. Really? I didn't know that can happen, that they would leave. I thought it was like a box. You put them in, then you like lift up the frame and they're still there with the honey. I didn't know that. Gwen says, I also have, there's this TikToker that I follow and she's in England, countryside, English countryside. And she's got these ducks in her beautiful, it's the most beautiful cottage garden. That love to gobble up the leftovers. Yup, so they love us in return. I pity the intruder that goes through my backyard. Absolutely beautiful. Yup, and I absolutely agree. Oh, you guys, this has been amazing. Chatting about today's hot stories, chatting about fruits, vegetables, everything else, how much we salted chicks for. All of that has been so much fun. Thank you so much, you guys. Now I have to finish watching the last 5 minutes of The Valley for that big confrontation. I'm going to watch the after show. And I did finish watching Teen Mom Next Chapter. So I would like to do a recap of that before I head off for my Kisomba, for my Kisomba class. And as usual, if you enjoyed today's episode of The Morning Report, please don't hesitate to give it a thumbs up on your way out. And I'll see you tomorrow at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Take care, you guys. Thanks again.